What's up, everybody? It's Kale, and we're back at it with another video. And as you can tell by the title of this one, I'm gonna be telling the story of how I got kicked out of college. So, crazy story, it's something I kind of saw coming, kind of didn't think it would happen, but yeah, I mean, it's a crazy story and definitely entertaining one. And yeah, I mean, comment down below, what you before I even get into the story, comment down below what you think the story's gonna be about. Did I get kicked out for getting in a fight, or anything, suspended, anything like that? So yeah, without further ado though, let's get to the story. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of y'all are kind of unaware of my college experience. So for 4 years I stayed at one college called Lees McRae. That's where I played basketball and got my bachelor's at. I was there for 4 years. And then because of COVID, all the athletes got an extra year. So I did my grad year at a school in Ohio called Tiffin University. And that's where I spent my last school year, obviously working on my master's and then playing my last year of collegiate basketball. And, as y'all know, throughout this video, I'll put up random clips, or different clips and different photos of my time at Tiffin. But yeah, it's a school in Ohio called Tiffin University, and that's where I was at for this past year. So from the fall of 2022 to the spring of this current year, which is 2023, that's where I was at the past 8-9 months. And definitely enjoyed my time there. It was actually the most fun I've ever had in playing college sports. Really love my teammates, like my coaching staff. I really like the school. Coming from Lees McRae is a lot smaller and definitely in a small town. The school itself is very small, and Tiffin, it wasn't crazy big, but it was a lot bigger than Lees McRae. Tiffin was at least in the city. Lees McRae is in a small town. Tiffin was at least in the city, so I was able to, go to fast food, go to local stores and stuff like that. You kind of take for granted, you think it's funny, but when I was at Lees McRae, we had to drive 30 minutes to get fast food, 30 minutes to go to a grocery store, Walmart, so you think it's not that bad, but when you're driving an hour, I guess consistently, or maybe sometimes you don't want to drive that hour, but you kind of have to if you want to get something to eat late at night, it definitely gets annoying. So I definitely, and I love the people I met at Lees McRae. Like I said, I was there for 4 years, so obviously I bleed, the green and gold, and I'm an alumni, but I definitely like Tiffin, a lot better just for that 1 year. So yeah, I got to Tiffin in the fall of last year, in August, and obviously I'm there for sports. I'm also in education, so went through the whole season, and I can make a separate video talking about my last college season as well. If y'all are interested in that, definitely let me know down in the comments. But played my last year at Tiffin, had a lot of fun. We broke a lot of records, and it was overall a great experience, a great time. And I had talked to my, I'm kind of getting to how I'm getting closer to getting kicked out of college. I'm working my way up to it. But I remember I had talked to my advisor just about the process of getting my master's, because some master's programs are 1 year, which is 2 semesters. Some are 4 years. So I was talking to her about okay, so would it be 2 years? Would it be 1 year? Like, would I get my master's by the springtime of next year? By the end of this current academic year? And she was saying, no, it's a 2-year program. So as y'all understand how college athletic works, you have a timer from the minute, the second, the day you step foot on campus as a freshman for your sport. You have a timer. You get 4 years. COVID gave everybody extra years, so I had 5 years. So pretty much this was gonna be my last year playing college sports, regardless. Like, it was the COVID year. I didn't redshirt, so this was gonna be my last year, regardless. No matter what happened, this was gonna be my last year playing college sports. And so I knew that if I wanted to, with my program being 2 years, I knew if I wanted to further my education, what I'm getting at is I would have to pay for out of pocket. Whether I took out a student loan, took out a personal loan from a family member or a friend, it would be money I would have to pay for. I wouldn't have a scholarship, so to speak, to pay for it for me, like I've been having for going on 5 years. Like, I had a scholarship when I was at Lees McRae, and I had a scholarship obviously when I was at Tiffin. So that's something that I wasn't comfortable with doing, was just taking out a lot of money in my name, pretty much, for lack of better words. People might get offended for a piece of paper. And I had talked to her about the exact hours and how much they would charge per credit hour. So I knew like a ballpark, or I knew exactly what I was going to have to end up paying. And I believe, so like I said, I went there in the fall, stayed there to the spring, and I was done. Got kicked out, obviously. After the season, I should say, by the way, I didn't get kicked out middle of the season or beginning of the season or end of the season. We were done playing basketball. And that's kind of the reason I'll explain it later, but that's kind of one of the reasons I got kicked out. But so yeah, so I would have to be there that fall, or last fall, be there this spring, and then the earliest I can get it would be the following fall. So it would be 4 straight semesters. So fall, spring, summer, fall, and I would get it Today, as of right now, we're in March. Well, no, we're in May. So I would get it this upcoming December at the time of this video. So I would get if I stay with it, I would have got my master's degree in December of 2023. But the summer and fall semester of 2023, I would have to pay for out of pocket. I would have to get a loan, so to speak. And like I said, I just really wasn't comfortable doing that. I think after I did the math on it, I think it was around $13,000. And I know some people may be saying, oh, invest in your education, or that's not a lot of money. But just for where I'm at in life, for one, I didn't feel like, and I still don't feel like, that I need to get a master's. Two, as y'all know, I just recently bought my own place. So it's like I'm already, not in debt, but I already have things that my money can better go towards too, such as paying off my rent, stuff like that. So it's like I don't need another giant bill over my head that I would have to pay off someday. I'm at a point in life where it's like a lot of my money is going to my house, and excess money I have is going to my car and day-to-day expenses, and then the money out of that, that's probably that's more likely going to go to my savings. Like I'm not really super pressed about let me go ahead and just sign up for something that's going to be in over $10,000 worth of money I'm going to have to pay back, plus interest, with student loans, which is a whole other topic. But see, I just wasn't really comfortable with that. So I told myself, I think I did that in the fall. That's when I think I exchanged emails with her. So I found out, the first semester of my only year at Tiffin, that I'm not going to get my master's. Like I'm just not going to pay for it. Like no matter what, I'm just not going to pay for it because I just don't want to. Like I don't feel like I need it. I don't want to take out another loan for it, and I also told myself too, the kind of the third thing is that, I never planned on getting my master's. COVID gave every athlete, that was one of the few blessings that came from COVID, is it gave every athlete a free year. So, let's just say if COVID didn't happen, which I know everybody's been saying that in the past few years, but if COVID never happened, I wouldn't even be here in the first place. I wouldn't even be getting my master's because I wouldn't be paying for it. Well, I wouldn't want to pay for it. I probably could. I mean, student loans, they give it to anybody. It doesn't matter what your credit score is, your income. Anybody can get a student loan, which is a sad reality in America. But so I know I could get one, and I know I could technically get my master's, but I wasn't even supposed to be here in the first place. And so that's some of the ways I rationalized. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna get my master's. I don't feel like I need it. I wouldn't be here in the first place, and I don't feel like paying for it. I'm just not gonna pay for it. So, towards the end of my time at Tiffin. I say 2 months from now. So January, February, March, April, May. Currently in May, the 5th month. So January, February, March. Around March, that's kind of when I started looking for homes and jobs back in North Carolina. So like I said, Tiffin's in Ohio. I didn't mind Ohio. I just don't like how flat Ohio is. But I didn't really mind the state. The state was fine. Like I said, I really enjoyed the people I met and talked to in Ohio. Obviously, my teammates. The school itself, I really enjoyed my time there, but I knew I wanted to come back to North Carolina. So, our season ended in March. Yeah, I think early March, I believe, maybe late February. I'm pretty sure it was early March, though. Our season ended. And so, with our season being over, it's like, obviously I came here to further my education, but I came here to play basketball. That's the reality of student athletes. Like, yes, we're there to get our education continued and get our degrees, but we're really there for sports, I probably would have never went to Tiffin if I wasn't an athlete. I would have never went to Leeds McRae if I wasn't an athlete. I know that. I probably would have went to community college, which was a lot cheaper, and get the same degree, so to speak, while working. So, people always say, oh, it's bigger than your sport. You're a student first. Realistically speaking, I wouldn't be here. I would not come here and pay all this money when I could go to a local community college and get the same education for a hundredth of the price. So anyways, I knew around March after the season, I had been telling myself, hey, after the season, you need to start looking for jobs in North Carolina where you want to live and looking for homes in North Carolina where you live. You need to devote all your time after the season to that because, as y'all know, when you're a college athlete, your living expenses are paid for. I have the calf. I stayed in an apartment so I could cook, but I have the calf. Obviously, the roof over my head, the apartment I stayed in was paid for. So I told myself, like, hey, in March, Tiffin's graduation is in May. Yeah. So I was like, I told myself, I have 2 months left of free living. After this, I'm gonna be kicked out of here regardless because I'm no longer an athlete. I'm no longer a student, and it's summertime. Like y'all know how it is with college. Like in the summer, you could stay there, you could pay extra, but for the most part in the summer, everyone moves out. Some athletes may stay over the summer, some people may stay over the summer, but for the most part, everybody moves out. And so I told myself, like, I need to use my time wisely for these next 2 months and find a place to live in North Carolina and find a job. I need to find a place I can sleep at night, and I need to find a way to make some money. So, and I prioritize that. I guess I should explain why. I'm getting to how I got kicked out. Like I said, I'm working my way up there. But I prioritize that, finding a job, finding a place to live and a job in North Carolina over education. So I pretty much just, lack of better words, I stopped doing all classwork. All my classes were online, so I didn't have to physically go anywhere. But I told myself, me finding a place to live and money for the rest of my life or for the next year or two is more important than me taking classes here, because for I can get an A in every class for the rest of the semester. But it really won't matter because I'm not going to get my degree. Like I'm not paying for the next 2 semesters to get my degree. So me doing these classes, the way I thought about it is irrelevant. Whether I get an A in the class, doesn't matter, I'm not getting my degree. If I fail the class, I'm not getting my degree. And I don't want to say a waste of time, but it would just seem pointless to me to keep dedicating so much time to doing my classwork. Because like I said, I'm not getting my degree. I've already got my bachelor's. I'm not getting my master's. I'm not paying for it. And, I have bigger fish to fry, so to speak. I need to find where I'm going to live for the rest of the year. I need to find out how I'm going to make some money for the rest of the year. Me doing assignments and discussion posts, I did that this long so I could stay eligible. I did it first semester while I was at Tiffin so I could stay eligible for second semester. I did it for so long second semester so I could keep my eligibility and be on good grace academically to keep playing basketball into the postseason. But once, basketball's over, I have to worry about me. I have 2 more months here of free living and free food. But after that, I'm gonna have to pay for my own place to live. I'm gonna have to pay for my own food. Like, it's no more freebies and handouts. So I need to take my time and find a place where I can live and make some money. And that's what I did. I just abandoned all classwork. And I strictly dedicated my time to, my teammates, they live with me, so they know, and my coaches, I can get into all that too. But I strictly dedicated my time to looking for houses, talking to property managers, talking to landlords, talking to people at banks, talking to my real estate agent. And, when I wasn't doing that, looking for houses, I was looking for jobs. I must have had over a dozen interviews, virtual interviews, obviously all of them were virtual interviews, via Zoom and stuff, phone calls, just talking to different jobs, explaining my situation, saying, hey, I'm currently not in North Carolina. I'm not in the state. However, I will be there within the next 2 months. And so, I want to have a job lined up the way I can move back there, start working immediately, and pretty much, get my career going. So that was what I told employers, like, hey, I'm currently not in the state. However, I will be very soon. Can we handle everything we can right now, as far as background checks, drug screenings, interviews, direct deposit forms, can we handle all that stuff now? That way I can pretty much just show up and get right into training or right into working. And so that's what I did for my last 2 months at Tiffin. I just looked for jobs and looked for houses. And as y'all know, if you see my previous video on how I got a house at 22, I mentioned that, like, it took me about 2 months to find my house and find my job. So, I definitely cut it close. And I actually cut it a little early because, like I said, I get kicked out. And so I guess I'll go ahead and get into that. So as y'all know, every school has a form of academic probation and things like that. But pretty much, it's better to fail a class than it is to just not do work. Because if you fail a class, and it's stupid, college has a lot of flawed logic and a lot of interesting things of the way they're ran and how they operate. But for a university or a college, it's better for a student to fail a class because they're just a bad student over them just not doing any work. So, in hindsight, it would have been better for me to just go on my discussion post and type in, hey, every week and just get a 0 or get a 50 or get a whatever and just fail my courses than it was to just not do any work. Because, a lot of schools have, like, if you don't do work for 14 days, 12 days, 10 days, you get kicked out or you're no longer a student. And that's pretty much what happened. I went so long without doing work that they said, hey, you violated the contract or you violated your terms. You're not a student here anymore. And as y'all can probably assume, with technically not being a student, I can't live on campus no more. I'm not a student. I'm no longer an athlete, obviously, because the season's over. And I'm not a student anymore because I got kicked out of class from lack of doing work. So, it was a somewhat lengthy process, and I did, my coaches helped me out a little bit. they tried to get me back in classes, and I tried to talk to professors and stuff, and it was a drawn out process that eventually at some point, being real with myself, I told myself, either way, I just want to know. Talking to my professors and talking to people in the office, I'm not going to say I didn't care what happened, but at some point I told myself, like, whether I'm staying here to the day I'm supposed to leave, which is graduation, I think it was the end of the month, end of March, or end of April, I guess. January, February, March, April. It was the end of April. Staying here to when I'm supposed to leave, which is the end of April, or you're kicking me out, which was ironically a week early. So I was technically, told to move campus, to leave campus a week before I would have had to leave anyway. But I just told myself, like, this process is going on so long that I just want to know, am I staying or am I going? It's easier on me. Do I need to plan to move out this weekend, or do I need to plan to move out within 2 weeks? And so, I had to talk to, obviously, the head of housing. I had to talk to this lady multiple times. I'm not going to say her name because, I don't want to put anybody's business out there. But I had to talk to the head of housing. I had to talk to my professors and just see if I can get back in classes, and tell the head of housing, hey, just give me a little more time, trying to see if I can even get back in classes. Because if I can, which this would be the original plan, if I can get back in my classes, I would just go in there and fail it, pretty much. Like, just go in there and type a word in for my discussion post, and just, because, that is the logic with these colleges. Like, at least if a student is failing, they're just a bad student. But to not do any work, I guess, looks worse. But in my mind, it's all the same. Like, me going in there intentionally failing is the same as me intentionally not doing any work. Like, it's tomato. It's the same thing, chicken wing. It's from the same tree. Like, either way, I'm not passing the class at all. And so, the house lady, she was very polite with me and gave me some extra time. But she ultimately said, hey, by so-and-so day, I need you out. And I believe it was a Saturday. May have been a Sunday. Yeah, I think it was a Sunday. And like I said, ironically, that Sunday was a week before I had to leave anyways. And that's another reason, too. I was somewhat annoyed because, and I'll just say this right now. Throughout this entire process of me getting removed from campus and stuff, there was never one time I blamed somebody else. I still don't blame anybody else. I knew, like, I had this conversation with myself multiple times, that if I don't do any schoolwork whatsoever and strictly dedicate my time to finding a house and finding a place to live, I know that it's a chance I can get kicked out. And so when my head coach called me upset and, screaming on the phone and all that, I never once said it's not my fault. I never once said this shouldn't be happening. I said, yep, I knew this was a possibility. I knew this was a reality, and I'm fine with that. Like, if me leaving the campus a week early means that a month or two from now I'll be in my own house and have my job, which is what I'm currently in, it's worth it. And in life, you have to do what you think is best for you, and you have to weigh the risk versus the reward. I tell myself, okay, I may get kicked out of school early, but if me getting kicked out of school early means I can move, I can get my house and my job sooner, that's a risk. That's a risk I'm willing to take. I'll roll the dice from that. I'll bet on myself and roll the dice from that, because no matter what, I'm gonna be out of here regardless, and no one's gonna be paying my bills or paying for me to eat. Like, so if I can speed up the process of me looking for a place to live and looking for some income, I'll do that. I'll take that. And so my coaches didn't really, I'll say my head coach. My head coach didn't really agree with me at all. He was very upset, calling me, screaming, yelling on the phone. I think he overreacted a lot, but that's just my personal opinion. Telling me I need my master's, and I definitely think there was a disconnect, because my head coach originally thought that I was getting my master's that semester. Like, he thought it was a 2-semester program. He didn't even know it was a 4-semester program, which means I would have to pay for it out of pocket. So there was obviously a disconnect from the jump. He didn't even know the length of my master's program, which, you find that out by talking to your players and your athletes, just getting to know them and checking in. And like I said, the season's over, so I don't expect nobody to call me every day. But, at least if you're gonna come call me or talk to me about an issue, I would prefer if you at least knew what was going on, or at least had a better understanding. And so, it wasn't an argument between me and him, but it was definitely a disagreement. Him saying I need to get my master's, and it doesn't matter how much the money is. In today's world, you need a master's, pay the money. And me saying, no, I'm not going to pay it. It's my life. I'm not going to pay it. Like, I know you got your master's and that worked for you. That's great. But for what I want to do, I don't feel like I need a master's, and I'm not going to pay to get a master's. And so, definitely a disagreement, disconnect. And even through all that, he definitely did what he could to try to help me get back in class so I wouldn't have to leave a week early. But ultimately, I still had to leave a week early. And my assistant coach was a little more understanding. He was just asking me what I plan on doing and stuff. And that's another thing, too. It's like, I'm not trying to brag or nothing, but I plan ahead of time for a lot of things people wouldn't even think I think about. Like, I talk to myself a lot. I write stuff down and put stuff on my phone in my notes. Bottom line is, I plan very early, and I go over certain things, certain scenarios, and certain situations and circumstances in my head 1,000 times over before I even tell somebody. So, when my assistant coach said, "What's your plan?" I gave him a plan. I said, "I'm going to keep looking for houses and jobs. I'm going to go stay with somebody for a certain amount of time, but be working and try to get a house every day." And as you know in my last video, 9 days after I got kicked out of school, I got my house. So, roughly a week, little more. But 9 days after I was, told to leave campus, leave Ohio, I got my place. A few days before that, I got my job. So it's like, in the grand scheme of things, it all worked out. Not exactly how I wanted and how I said it would, but I said I was going to come back to North Carolina and get a job and get a house. And that's what happened. Bottom line, it happened that way. And so, definitely in life, you're going to have people older, younger, people from different backgrounds, different demographics, tell you what you should and shouldn't do. But ultimately, everybody's life is different. And, I really wish my head coach had understood that at the time, that, yes, I may not agree with what Kale's doing, but let me just see how he's going about it. Now, if he called me and I said, "Yeah, I'm not doing my classwork and I don't know what I'm going to do," okay, that's a time to be a little urgent, maybe not aggressive is the word, but be a little urgent, be a little persistent. Okay, you don't know what you're going to do, so how do you want me to help you? Or can you see how bad of a plan this is, Kale, that you don't even know what you want to do, yet you're not doing classwork? But like I said, I already thought about this 10 times over. I knew I'm not doing classwork because I'm looking for a roof over my head and money in my pocket. And so, like I said, I definitely had a plan this whole time. And, I'm not going to say it all worked out perfectly, but it worked out. It worked out like I said it would. I said I would come back here and get a house and get a job or jobs, and that's what I have right now. Obviously, I have my own place. I have a job, working on getting another job, but yeah. So it's interesting, man. I never thought it would happen. I mean, I kind of knew that it could happen, but I also thought, like, it's a week left. They're not gonna kick me out, but they did, and I mean, it is what it is. But through all that, I still have love for my teammates. I still have love for the school. Still have love for my coaches. None of that ruined any relationships with anybody. Like, it's funny, when I was actually moving out, my teammates came in, and I had like a mini yard sale. They took the things they wanted, Some of them got I had a huge 60-inch TV. One of them got that. One of them got my bed, which was a full-size bed. As you know, in dorms and apartments, it's all twins. So one of them got a free bed, free TV. One of them got my mini fridge. Gave away a bunch of clothes, things like that. So, the process was funny. It was definitely, I won't say sad, but, definitely like a little like, I'm going to miss y'all, like tell my teammates bye for the last time. Because, we're all from different places. I have teammates from Florida, Texas, Ohio, teammates from all Indiana, Chicago, or I guess Illinois, teammates from all across the country. But, we're just all there for our school. So, definitely was, definitely going to miss those guys and stuff. But throughout the entire process, it's no bad blood with anybody. I definitely wish, my head coach would have tried to understand me more and, just seen it from my perspective and I guess really listen to me more instead of just coming in like a parent telling a kid you're wrong and I'm right no matter what. But, me and him are still cool. I called him when I got my house. He congratulated me. Called my assistant coach. My teammates obviously knew about it. My close friends knew about it. So, yeah, it's just this whole journey has definitely been interesting. And, I mean, it's something that I can truly say I never would have saw coming. If you had told me 4 years ago, a year ago, that, hey, you're gonna go, at the end of your college career, you're gonna get kicked out, you're gonna leave early, unexpectedly, and you're gonna have a place to live around a week later, I would have laughed at you. If you told me 4 years ago, hey, for your last year of college sports, you're gonna be in a state you've never been to before, surrounded by people you've never met, playing in a school you never heard of, I would have laughed at you. Like, but everything happens for a reason, and that's what I believe, My biggest piece of advice from this video or any video like this is just to have a plan. If you have a plan, I'm not saying it's gonna work, but I feel like it increases your odds of you to be successful. And it's just like you know what you have to do. Like, whether it's bullet points, it's a 1, 2, 3 list, it's a general idea of what you want to do. Just have a plan, and that'll help you go a long way. And so I knew this whole time, even before the season ended, I knew I had a plan. I knew I'm going to sacrifice my schoolwork and maybe get kicked out early, all to get the bigger goal of getting my own place. And so, yeah, man, that's my story. Hopefully it inspires some of y'all. Definitely comment down below what you think. I know I've had friends who got kicked out of school early on, like freshman, sophomore year, junior year. I've had friends or teammates before get kicked off the team. But you know, that's my story, and you know, looking back on it, I definitely feel like it's cliche to say, but I wouldn't have changed it for anything. Like, if I can go back in time, I still wouldn't have done the work. I still would have dedicated my time looking for houses and jobs, and I still would have did it probably the exact same way. Like, I no matter throughout this whole process, I could have just never rationalized just doing work to not get my degree. Like, it just makes zero sense to me. I mean, I saw it as working the job and not punching in. Like, I'm doing all this work, and I mean, as y'all know, especially, you know, master's is supposed to be a little advanced. I didn't take it that way, but, you know, being a student is already a full-time job, so it's like, I can't just picture just doing all these things for grades that are meaningless. So, like I said, y'all, that's my story. I appreciate y'all for listening and watching. You know, definitely comment down below what you think, any questions you may have. You know, maybe I can, you know, there's not really a part 2 to this, but maybe I can do an update in the future. But, yeah, you know, it was definitely a great experience, you know, and I definitely matured and learned from it. Things I don't want to do, things I want to do again. You know, one of the main things I learned is just to have a plan, and just I'm going to keep betting on myself. No matter who tells me what I'm doing is stupid, wrong, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I'm not saying I know everything, but I'm going to bet on myself. Like, 11 times out of 10, I'm going to bet on Kale. And because I know Kale's going to come through and do everything he can to be in the best position for himself. So, yeah, man, thank y'all for watching, and see you next time.